So I give you a little bit of background because this helps you to understand the design behind the program. So you will make sure you stick to it. First, I just want to talk about fat. So do you know the 3 types of body fat that we have got? So we talk about what's healthy weight, the roles of exercise and nutrition. So that blended into weight loss success. And then we looked at all the members' data. You can identify your data by the code that you provided, and then also what would you expect during the 6 weeks, and then plus the other 2 weeks, and my expectation to you during this period. So this is what we're going to cover, and then you can, throughout the process, please stop me anytime to ask any questions. So we have in our body, we have 3 types of fat. Some are good, some are bad. Some promote healthy metabolism, maintain healthy hormone levels, and some are actually contributing life-threatening diseases. Female males very different. Female contains probably 10 to 13% of body fat, and males only 2 to 5%. So therefore, males fats are absorbed from food. So therefore, male can have food less than fat, with less fat than female. And the 3 types of fat. One is essential fat. That's why I mentioned they are like in my spinal cord and nervous system, my bone marrow. So they are the fats that we need to have. The second one is the fat under the skin, visible. You know, around your hips, your thighs, your arms. So this is subcutaneous fat, and they are actually, majority of them are good fat. They are, because our hormones are really sensitive to the amount of fat under your skin. So it's somehow contribute to the maintenance of good hormone levels. Therefore, when people lose fat so quickly, they might experience some hormonal changes, especially for females. So that's quite normal. When you get back to a normal diet, when the fat burned under your skin stabilize, you back to normal. So this is not a major concern. So the other fat is the fat we call the queen of aggravating massive health problems. This is the fat that we should not have substantial amount, because that's caused the problem. It surrounds the organs and between the muscles, which you can't see. So that's why when sometimes people are skinny, they're visibly skinny, but actually they contain large amount of those fats, visceral fat. And sometimes you've heard of, this person look really healthy, very slim, why have a heart disease, why have a high cholesterol level? And that's the reason, because that's the fat that you don't see, and this the fat need to control. So there's 3 types of fat. So let's look at, then we will talk about what's healthy weight. Now, people generally look at the scale and then to judge whether that the weight is healthy or not. This is not enough. We looked at the weight, whether it's healthy, through 5 indicators. The first one is look at BMI. I think everybody knows is about our weight versus our height. So the BMI between 18.5 to 24.9 is healthy range. For female, tend to go toward lower BMI, because we actually have less muscle tone. Therefore, because muscle are much heavier than fat, so male are going toward the far end, say 24.9. And also ethnicity also impact on the muscle tone and the bone structure as well. So the BMI, that's why it's got a range. If your BMI is between 25 to 29.9, that's overweight. More than 30 is obese. The second indicator you need to look at, even when you have a normal BMI, but the most important indicator for healthy weight is, in fact, is the waist circumference. So when normally we recommend female, the waist circumference should be less than 80 centimeters. For males, is 94 centimeters. If females' waist circumference higher than 88 centimeters, or for male higher than 102, we'll say you have substantially increased the risk of many diseases such as cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, diabetes, and cancer. Okay. So now you will later on will see, you will know now, you already measure yourself, you see which category you place yourself in. The third indicator is cholesterol. High cholesterol indicated you have those second type of fat, in the third type of fat around your organs. And this means your weight is not healthy. The reason is it's not about the scale, it's about the proportion of the fat and the muscle and the bone is not in a healthy range. Third is your blood glucose level. Okay, so this is also looked at. If you have in the morning, when before you consume any food, if it's a high glucose level, you need to have a blood test. Your doctor's annual checkup will tell you. Then it indicates that you have issues that need to control. Third is your blood pressure. So now this is the 5 indicators to indicate whether you have a healthy weight. So in the future, no longer just look at the scale of your BMI, because that's not the most important indicators. We need to take into consideration is your past history. So normal range has normal weight, healthy weight has a range. You have the upper and lower and upper range. So that will impact on influenced by your past history. So if say you are obese, you're overweight when you were young, you always fight with your weight when you're older. Therefore, if you want to reduce your weight much substantially lower than when you're the lightest weight, it's really difficult. It's not impossible, but it becomes difficult for you to maintain. So that's how you consider the weight, age, and also how many children you had nothing to do with you, but for female also impact on the range of healthy weight, the kilos. So this is how we understand weight. Now this is the body shape. You've probably seen this anywhere. Sorry, the Chinese. So this is the shape. The second green one, what you're looking for is your waist circumference is actually much visibly smaller than the hips measurement. And if it's 1 versus 1, that is overweight. If larger than the hips circumference measurement, that's obese. Okay, so this is the green one, what you're looking for, and hoping this is, if you're not looking like that, hoping this is something to help you to achieve, including what visibly at the front as well. So how do we look at weight loss success? We need to burn both of the subcutaneous fat and visceral fat. Now, the way that you burn these 2 types of fat is different. Now, I'm going to discuss with you later on. That will explain to you the principle behind how this 6+2 is designed. So firstly, in order to successfully burn the fat, this fundamentally is about mass. It's about negative energy intake, have to be negative. So the energy you take in, supply to the body, always lower than the energy that you have to use each day. If you're following your diet I calculated for you, then you have about 600 to 700 calories deficits each day. So usually when you burn 38, if you have a 38, when you burn 3,800 calories, you lose half kilos. So the calculation will be then each week you lose about 400 gram to 600 to 700 grams of fat each week based on the diet recommended to you. So this is a normal and way of losing. But don't forget that during the fat burning process, you burn out the water, the fluids in your body you don't normally get rid of. Therefore, the total weight loss will be larger than the actual fat. So which is a really good sign to see. So this would happen much earlier stage of your fat burning. So you lose a large amount of water, which is stored there because of the fat. You lose them as well. So negative in and out, but fundamentally, you need to protect you need to have adequate energy intake, because when you're not moving, we have, say, the basal energy requirement for your body, you need to maintain that. If it's too lower than level all the time, your body have two reactions. Firstly, you feel tired and you don't have energy. Your brain probably don't work that well. Secondly, you will last, if you last there for a long while, then say even 4 or 5 days, your body starts to lower down your metabolism rate in order to meet the low energy supply. So this is something that you don't want to see, because end up you are not losing weight. You're suffering from hunger, tiredness, but you're not losing burning fats. So that's why the basal energy requirements of your body need to be maintained each day, at least, for 6 days, at least 4 or 5 days, we need to maintain that. Otherwise, you would not be able to burn the fat, visceral fat. What you lose is the fat under your skin. Secondly, we need to be consistent. The body likes consistency. The body likes certainty, just like human being, and you need to be consistent. But at the same time, you don't want the body go into a automatic drive in the way that how to do things. So we need to give it some stimulation from time to time, so that it won't go into mode of not burning the fat. So that's why, especially during the 3rd or 4th week, really likely because of the low energy intake, you always have energy negative intake. The body tend to switch lower down the metabolism in order to meet those low energy intake. So you will likely go into the fat burning weight loss plateau. So that's why we need to use tactics to fight it. Once you get through that, you will start the fat burning again. So you will see that certain period of time during the weight loss process, your weight actually store some for a few days, sometimes a week. So this is something, that's the time that we need to do something differently in order to make a move. Then we'll continue the fat burning. The last one, not the last one, the second last one is food choices. Now, this is really actually is about the types of fat you burn. Okay, in order to burn the fat under your skin, very easy. Starve yourself. Don't eat less. The fat under your skin will be burned, because this is what burn first. However, not eating will never burn the visceral fat, because our body protect those fat, because that fat is to them is more important than your muscle. So when you're not eating enough, you start to burn the fat under your skin. You do exercise as well, it burns faster because it burns the energy. Okay, to a certain stage, the body is no longer satisfied with the way that you're doing now, because you're not eating enough. It does two things. So first, lower the metabolism. Second, to starting to burn the proteins in your muscle. Okay, so you become weaker and weaker. Now, this is something you do not want to see happen. This is why people start themselves gradually become floppy, really floppy, and not just moody, but floppy as well. This is when you're starting to burn the protein in your muscle. So in order to trigger to burning of the visceral fat, the only way is food choices. You eat nutrient-dense food. That's the only way in doing that. You can do exercise, you can do a lot of things that is only assist the process. But fundamentally is the food that you choose, with all other things that trigger the fat burn. So then the nutrient-dense food, including lean protein. So the protein comes from lean meat, fish, prawns, or some soy product. But when we use soy product, we have to be really careful, because soy products are only high in carbohydrate as well. Now, the second one is complex carbohydrate. This is very important. This is the most difficult part for any weight loss to control. because all types of food got carbohydrate. Now carbohydrate will break down, eventually become sugar in your bloodstream. You do not burn them, store in fat. So when you're doing the weight loss, you need to stop providing those substance for storing fat. Okay. However, our body do have certain needs of carbohydrate because our brain need those immediate energy from carbohydrate. Our muscle need immediate energy from carbohydrate. So you need to provide that. If you do not provide that, it's risky for your health. So now how much you need? Every day, you cannot have carbohydrate lower than 50 grams. If you're lower than that, you are actually damaging your health. Now, I've also written down 70 grams. That means if higher than 70 grams, you are actually lower the fat burning process because you're still supplying those substances that eventually turn to fat. Okay, but this range is for when you're not doing intensive training, you're not doing long-term low impact exercise. So generally it's 50-70 grams. So the design of the program is actually provide you with just below 70 gram fat carbohydrate. So that have to come from food provide complex carbohydrate, not simple carbohydrate. So there's a second one, that's the principle of food choice. Third, and you need to, when you have fruit, you need to have low GI fruit. And when food do not have sugar, that we don't talk about GI. GI is the speed that you actually break down the food, turn into sugar. We want that process as slow as possible. So the lower the low GI index, the better. So we want that low GI index. We were looking at for our weight loss program, we are looking at far below 40. So 25, 15, that's the best for us. So when you looked at any fruit with lower than 30, 25, I'm more happier than above 30. Fourth, when you look at vegetable, they are not all veggies serve the same purpose. When you're not at weight loss, all veggies are good. Okay. When you're talking about weight loss, vegetable with low in carbohydrate is what you're looking for. Okay. So when I say you need to have 450 grams of vegetable, we're talking about low carb veggie. So at least for the first 3 weeks. So that is the principle of weight loss. Once it's successful, this is what you have to do. Okay. Now, this is the data. You can see that the code, you use the code to identify yourself, your BMI, and your waist-hip ratio, and your normal weight range. This was recommended to you according to your height, and also your body frame, and suggested lowest weight you can achieve and you can maintain by adopting a healthy eating habit and certain exercise. You can maintain that. Lower than this, you will have some level of difficulties in maintaining it. Not saying you can't, but just you need to put a lot of effort in doing that. Okay, so that's your, then another column is your current rate, another column is your own expectation. So you can see there's a slight difference in between what you expected and what is recommended. So now, when you looked at your when the BMI and waist and hip ratio highlighted in yellow, that means it's problematic from my perspective. Okay. Who's talking? Okay, so mute them. So when you looked at the waist and hip ratio, so this is, sometimes we look at the waist itself, sometimes we looked at waist and waist circumference, sometimes we also looked at waist and hips ratio. So this excluded someone because some body shape, they don't have a really good level amount of muscle on your hips, so the hips are quite small. So then you need to consider also the waist as well. So what recommended is for female below 0.81, male below 0.891 is a good ratio. Between if female above 0.89 and male above 0.99, then you means put yourself at a high risk of having cardiovascular disease, diabetes, high blood pressure, and cancer. Now, those highlighted yellow is problematic ratio, and which means your waist circumference need to be reduced. Okay, but bear in mind when you're losing weight, you might lose the waist circumference. If you do not exercise, you also probably lose a lot of fat around your hips as well. So it might be reduced not substantially. So then you need to consider your waist reduction as well. So the initial waist reduction, how many of them then you reduce, also is a sign of success of weight loss and burning those burning the fat between your organs. And the suggested lowest weight in consideration of age, and also the lightest weight that you ever had for more than 12 months. Okay, so this is what you was suggested. So far, any questions before I move on to the next slide? No? Okay. Is it entertaining? To your knowledge? Yes. That's why I do it, Dennis. It's really fun.
Very good. You're very good, Ming. I feel very, very privileged.
Well, I've been studying this for the last 12, 13 years. Yeah, so when I had my daughter, I put on 18 kilos. I'm doing this by myself. And then since then, I've been reading substantial amount, and this is just fascinating to me. So that's why I know really, really a lot. Anyway, so now get into the program now. We have a 6 weeks and 2 weeks design. 6 weeks, you use assisting products. And then after the 6 weeks, you move on to a normal food consumption period. So then you'll be assisted with, guided by what you can eat, the amount you can eat, so you can give yourself, your body time to get used to a normal eating habit again. And also that's the time you start to maybe, if you were not active in the past, then this is the time you need to incorporate exercise into regular exercise into these 2 weeks and maybe for the rest of your life, because health actually put away genetic issues, environmental, social issues, put them if they're the same, basically come down to 2 things. 70% come from your diet, 30% come from the exercise. So exercise is really important. So this is the design 6-2. Then also 6-1 design, we looked at each week. Each week, during the 6 weeks, first 6 weeks, the first 6 days, you use the assisted food product, which is apart from Journey, you probably likely receive on Monday, I don't know, supposed to receive on Friday. Dennis and Rocky already got them. So the 6th day you use assisted food product. Then the 7th day of the week, you eat normally. But the first 2 weeks, there's some food I would not allow you to eat. However, you just eat your normal food. So if you are going to do a lot of exercise, such as Dennis, you want to have 2 or 3 hours cycling, and Johnny, you want to go hiking, please try to choose this day, because you can eat out, you can eat at restaurant, you can socialize with friends without making yourself look really funny. Always, I can't eat this and I can't eat that. So try to change your life routine into these 6 parts. And also this design is about giving your body a break. May your body, in the 6 days, the first 6 days, you have a negative energy intake. This day, the 7th day, I want you to balance. No negative intake. Your body is really happy on that day, and you are very happy on that day. On Monday, get the heat again, it will come down. Okay, so this day is really critical. I would tell you what's the focus of the food, because there will be slightly different in the first 2 weeks, and then the third 4 weeks, and the last 2 weeks. And you may be the same, but depending on your weight loss process. So this is 6-1 design. So a typical daily diet, unless there are some special requirements, then we can discuss individually. This is what the design is. For breakfast, you cannot skip breakfast. Breakfast is how you start your machine. Just like when you start the car, you need to switch the engines to start with. This is what you have to do. You got to have breakfast. You have the milkshakes that provided to you, and also 1 egg and plus additional. So depending on whether you have a really busy morning, okay, if your day start really intensive and busy, I will let you to eat additional foods, such as Dennis, I know that you like porridge, so I will allow you to have a small amount of porridge to go with the milkshake and the egg, okay? Because I don't want you to suffer those craving that much. So you can, but reduce the amount, not too much. Okay, you can have the normal amount, oat, okay, without sugar, and only low-fat milk. Now those low-fat milk will go toward the morning tea, all right? So you see 200 morning tea and afternoon tea, you can have 20 grams of nuts. When you have nuts, be really careful. 20 grams, you're talking about only small amount. For cashew nuts, only about 10 pieces. Basil nuts, only 6. So you wait, have a look how many of them, because nuts are really high in fat. Fat is good, but you cook my calculation of energy intake, okay? So this is how many grams you can have, or 200 ml of low-fat milk, 150 grams of no fat, no added sugar yogurt, 1 only, okay? Not all of them, 1 only. Or you can have 1 serve of low GI fruit, that's including such as 200 grams of blueberries, raspberries, strawberries, 1 apple, 1 orange, and any fruit that you're not sure, just ask me. Instead of providing with a whole list, and you tell me what fruit you like, just tell me whether this is fruit allowed and how many that you can have. That's much easier. And then, or you can use a meal replacement bar that I provided 6 of them to you. If you like it, you want more, then you can always order more. And my daughter and I love the meal replacement bar. It's very tasty. Now, the principle is morning tea and afternoon tea, you do not repeat the food you eat, because each different type of food provide you with different type of either vitamins or minerals. So I don't want you to repeat that. But again, if in the morning you already stole some of the milk, please morning tea reduce the amount of milk. And you can have mix and match. You can have 10 grams of nuts and then half serve of the others. This also, you can do that, or 1/3, 1/3, 1/3, you can do that as well. So you don't have to have just one thing, okay? At lunchtime, you always have 400 to 500 grams of vegetable. The reason is the vegetable have to be low in carb, so they likely are green veggie. So I will provide a list of the vegetable to you through email. So please send me your email address. I have all your email address. I will give you a list of low GI fruits as example, a list of all the veggies low in carb you can freely have via email. So you can choose from that. So this is made up of 400 to 500 grams. The reason is any vegetable still have carbohydrates. They all go toward the energy intake and carbohydrate. Remember, I need to tightly control your carb intake below 70 grams, above 50 grams. So make sure this is the amount you eat. Now then you have the lean protein come from lean meat, fish, and prawns. At the next slide, I will tell you how much you can have, depending on your current weight. So it can be arranged. The best is you have them all at lunchtime. But some people get used to have dinner. Okay, so then the arrangement is 2/3 at lunchtime and 1/3 at dinner time. Or you can have more meat at lunchtime and more veg at dinner time. Okay, so why we try to eat at lunchtime rather than dinner time? because it is about science. At night time, you don't move around. Generally, whatever you eat, all the energy you consume them. So we say, hypothetically, this kind of food provide you with 100 grams of 100 calories, okay? If you have it lunchtime, likely you only absorb 90 calories. But at dinner time, you get 100% of the calories, okay? You check anything, they will tell you exactly the same story. Therefore, your main meal during your weight loss have to be shipped to lunchtime, and that's the reason, okay? In the future, in order to maintain weight, you still should try to reduce the amount of food you eat at nighttime because you tend to absorb more. So what happens if you actually eat at nighttime? 1 hour after eating, move around. Move around, try to, not about burning the fat, is every time the food, somehow there's carbohydrate. And somehow at 1 hour after that, you inject some sugar into your bloodstream. You got to burn them, okay? So 1 hour after eating, move around, burn them. Won't be a large amount unless you eat simple carbohydrates. So move around, do something, housework, it doesn't matter what you do, you just do not sit down. Even you watch TV, stand up, shave your bums, wave for your arms, just do something, move your muscle. Then you burn those sugar, make sure it doesn't store into the body. That's what you have to do. Now, this is my expectation of you. If you have eaten at nighttime, then 1 hour after meal, please move around. Why 1 hour? You do not want to steal the blood from your stomach. You want your stomach to have a good digestion. So you digest the food properly, 1 hour. So give the food 1 hour, settle in your stomach, then you move around to burn the sugar, potential sugar you created, injected into your bloodstream. So that's the arrangement. I need to know if this is the arrangement you made. Okay, I need to know what your arrangement. If you eat that at lunchtime, that's fine. But if you have 2/3 and 1/3, and I need to know about that. For dinner time, so now if you only eat all the food, manage to eat all the food at lunchtime, around 6:30, 7 o'clock, you drink 100 ml collagen enzyme drink. You can just drink it like that, or you can mix with water. But the water temperature should be lower than 40 degrees because it will break down the enzyme in the drink. So now why this drink is important? Our body is a chemical reaction body. Okay, so probably Dennis will know now, your health background. When you eat the food, it triggers a chemical process in order to get the energy out from the food and provide to the body. These chemical processes rely on the enzyme in the body in order to make that happen and efficient. So now this collagen enzyme drink provide you this most important substance, speed up that process and trigger the fat burning. Firstly. Secondly, if you burning, collagens make your skin look nice. The reason that our skin sagging, looking really not as good as when you're a baby, because when you age, you lose collagen out of your skin. You cannot stop and reverse this process. The only way to make your skin, maintain your skin, is to provide the collagens. But the problem is, it takes 3 steps in order to provide the collagen that fit your skin. First, you need to able to break down the collagen that you eat in your body. Second, you need to absorb those, break down those substances. Third, make the collagen that actually fit your body. I have tried different products throughout the years, and this product works really, really well because it's used, the collagens are really in a really small microform, really easy to digest and absorb. And generally, the people who are on this program around 2nd week, they notice the difference in the skin. So now people, when they lose weight, they don't want to look bad. So that's the reason this drink make you feel actually you energized and glowing. And that's why important. You cannot not to drink this amount, okay? So now if you're not eating dinner, basically you drink 150 ml before 7 p.m. And if you have to have a dinner, you need to finish before 6:30, then you have the drink 1 hour or 1.5 hours after the food, not immediately after the food, okay? So, so again, if you eat all your food at lunchtime, then you drink the collagen drink between 6:30 to 7. If you eat 2/3 of food at lunchtime and 1/3 is around 6:30, then you will drink between 7:30 to 8 o'clock, no later than that. So you try to eat earlier, then you drink it. So at least an hour gap between food. I don't want the collagen drink go into your stomach when the food is still in there. So why 7 o'clock? Try to not to eat and drink something that you need to digest by 7. Because I want you to have nothing, because the body needs rest when you go to bed. You don't want the body still working to digest the food. Then that's why some people wake up in the morning tired, because when you sleep, your body is not resting. Okay, so 3 hours before bed, try not to eat. And a couple hours before bed, try not to drink. The reason is you don't want to wake up to go to the toilet. So that's a very simple things to remember. Okay. If what happened, if you're hungry, please let me know at nighttime. If at dinner time, if you're hungry, you at nighttime you're hungry, you let me know. I don't want you to go to bed starved. When you starve, you don't sleep well. When you don't sleep well, then in the long run, is lower down your metabolism. At the same time, you crave for more food in the morning. So this is not a really healthy cycle. Okay. So this is how much meat or fish you can eat. I think I suggested you do the calculation. Just you recognize your code, your daily protein intake during these 6 weeks. Okay, you don't need that much after you lost weight. You can reduce that, but during the weight loss process, again, you need to have a high nutritious value of food. So protein has become very important, because I lower your carb intake, protein need to increase, and then minus the assisted food, and that's the rest. That's the range of protein you need to actually guarantee. Now you can calculate by looking at, I already gave you the last column, such as raw meat, 100 grams of raw meat, such as chicken, beef and lamb, they're very similar. It's about 20 grams of protein. So you can work out how much meat you need to have each day. Now you need to promise that you cannot have lower than that. Otherwise, you have too lower energy intake. It's not going to burn the fat in between your organ. Okay, so that's fish and prawns. Now, unless you are vegetarian, unless you really the person cannot cope with large amount of meat and fish and prawns, then you can have tofu. But the problem is tofu is much lower in protein and have got carb attached to it as well. Okay, so I need to do another round of calculation for you if this is the case. If you can choose not to have tofu, and that will be great. The first 3 weeks completely off tofu. Okay, your protein come from this type of either the lean meat or fish and prawns. Okay, any questions? I will send you these 3 emails on the PDF so you can check them yourself. Okay. Yeah. Now, expectation and rules. If you don't do what I ask you to do, I cannot promise you that you reach your weight loss between 5 to 8 kilos. Now, I can't promise that. I will say I can close to promise you if you can do this. Firstly, you need to at least drink 2 liters of water. Many of you say you forgot to drink water. Now, this is a no-no. Reason, you cannot burn fat without water. Every gram of fat requires certain amount of water in order to burn it. Okay, so this is a science. This is not Ming's rule. You don't drink water, you don't burn fat. So first, secondly, you do not drink large amount in one go. Which organ that actually get the water out of your body, your kidney. It can only take that amount of water without causing damage. Okay, go down a whole bottle is actually you're killing your kidney. There's no joking. So you have to drink. That's why it's a good habit to always have a bottle. I always have a bottle. I do not go anywhere without bottle in my hand. Going to my car, have bottle. Even I go shopping, I have a bottle. This is a good habit. This is not obsessive. This is actually important for your health. The sign of you drinking regularly and good for your body is you never feel dryness in your mouth. You never have any time that you say, oh gosh, I need to have a lot of water. I'm really thirsty. If you never feel that you have a really good drinking habit, basically, okay? And every 2 or 3 hours, you need to go to the toilet. If you do not go that frequency, then it's not drinking enough. If you go every hour, I would say that you must go down too much water in one go. That's why you go so frequently. So 2 liters at least. So if your height, according to say Johnny and Dennis, you are really tall, then you need to drink a bit more water during the day. And if you exercise, you know, you need to drink some mineral water if you go for 2 hours hiking or 2 hours cycling, okay? If you sweat. So make sure you drink additional water and mineral water to top up that requirement. Please sleep by 11 p.m. because if you don't have enough sleep, then you crave for food and you lower your metabolism. So this is not a good way of maintaining good health and good weight. Try not to do that. And try not to consume, also at nighttime, if you are hungry, not just I really want to eat something, control yourself. This is self-discipline. But if you really feel that your tummy really can be benefited by some food, and then you tell me, just send me a message. I tell you what you can eat. Likely we will suggest you to have another half a bag of milkshakes, and then to give yourself something. And those females, they just have some cucumber and things like that. I said, I don't mind, as long as it make you feel better. But the best thing to eat is egg white. Okay. So if you don't mind egg whites, and have some egg whites if you're hungry, or even you have chop some vegetable and then do some egg white omelets if you're really hungry, or how bag of a milkshake to kill the hunger. So I don't want you to go to bed really, really hungry. And the first 3 or 5 days, probably 3 days, you're probably not really used to not eating a large amount at dinner time, but it will get better. After 3 days, because the collagen enzyme drink provide you with a good amount of carbohydrates, adequate for you for nighttime. So the reason you want to eat is just a matter of habit. So you're just changing the habit. It's not your body really need to eat that amount. And you do the measurements as required and complete online survey on Monday, on every Sunday, the day that you have free food. Do not weigh yourself every day, because you either frighten yourself or you flatten yourself. Because flattering yourself, because your body weight should not change too much. The fat don't change overnight. Okay, as I said, 3,800 calories only lose half kilo of fat. How could you actually suddenly the next day you drop 500 grams? That's a water. You are 500 grams heavier, also water. So do not weigh yourself regularly, only once a week. But sometimes I may ask you to weigh yourself on the Thursday if for specific reason. So just don't do that. And share a picture of your lunch. At least you need to guarantee for the first 2 weeks. My requirements is actually every day. Just you don't need to do anything. Take a picture, send it to me. I want to look at what you eat, and anything that I need you to get out of your food plate, and I will tell you. So share a picture. Take a picture of yourself tomorrow. You don't need to share the picture with me, but for yourself as a record, so you can compare yourself at the end. Or if at the end you are happy to allow me to use those pictures for our company, that will be welcome, but that's not compulsory. So that's my expectation and rules. Now up to you to ask questions. I've done a lot of talking already.
Lee said something about salt. Like, how do you flavor your food? How do you make your food taste good? Like vegetables and meat doesn't sound like very tasty. How do you what do you suggest to make the food taste good?
You mean the meat?
Yeah, well, like I mean the meat and the vegetables. You know, like normally if I was just gonna eat like a half a kilo of vegetables, which is kind of what you're suggesting, that I'd put a bunch of butter on it and salt and maybe like mayonnaise. So I can understand that that's probably not acceptable. But like, is there anything what do you do to make the food taste good?
You mean you mean make the food? You mean the taste or some other things you use to cook the food, or?
No, how do you make the food taste good? How do you make the food?
Oh yeah, of course you can make the food tasteful. You can have each day. Now tomorrow, use a scale to look at 20 grams of olive oil, how much it is. That's the amount that you can use to cook your food. You can use any herbs, anything to make your food taste nice. Okay. So anything. And at the beginning, you need to weigh the, pardon?
Salt is okay, salt.
Yes, salt is okay, but you have to bear in mind, if it's too salty, then you have too much water in your body. So I suggest you don't do that on Saturday, because on Sunday you'll be upset. You upset this the whole week. I haven't lost any. Actually, you have. It's just because that night you have too much salt, and then you store all the water in your body. Okay, so I would suggest don't do it on. And that high in salt is bad for your blood pressure anyway. So not too much salt, but make it the way that you enjoy the food. Okay, any herbs, anything you want that you can add to it. Then in total, the whole day is 20 grams of oil. And try not to use butter, try to use oil instead. But if you like to use a little bit of butter to cook the steak, is fine. Okay, but add up is 20 grams, no more than that. Otherwise, 1 gram of fat give you 9 calories, and carbohydrate and protein only 4 calories. That's why fats can actually top up your energy intake really easily. So this is the amount that have to be 20 grams, no more than that. Okay. And all the others, for the food, I think the first 2 weeks you might want to weigh the food. Gradually, you will know roughly what's the amount. You don't need to weigh them every day. And plus, when you go to Coast and Savory to shop, they tell you the weight of food anyway. So I give you a range, so you don't need to obsessively just chop a small bit and throw it into the bin. You don't need to do that. So there's a range, yeah. So one day smaller amount and another day top up. That's fine, but not constantly lower than what's recommended. Just be consistent. It's really important. And then your body will tell you, tell you that he's happy. Then you're happy. If you're not having enough, you become very moody. But generally, for this diet, you will feel the difference. You actually feel quite easy and lighter every day, and clean. So because actually they are good food. And the reason I chose the milkshake is because when you look at the package. Sorry, I can send you the white label. I just didn't put the white label on. It has got one serve of protein and one serve of carbohydrate. This is really good for our breakfast for start. And if you go to Chemist Warehouse, before I decide this food, I actually bought a lot of products from Chemist Warehouse or Coast and Savory. They are either really high in protein with no carb, which is not good for our body, and it doesn't help us to control the carb intake. Either they have sugar in there, which is we need to completely avoid in our diet, is the sugar, because it's eventually turn into to fat. So, and also they taste absolutely actually disgusting. A lot of all those sweetness, they come from those substance, taste awful. So and if you have on Monday when you try this product made in the Taiwan, the company, they are actually yummy. So that's the reason is I chose this product firstly is how they help with fat burn. Secondly, it gives you a really balanced diet and help me to control your carb easily. And thirdly, it's tasty. So you can actually, I actually regularly when I travel, I use the milkshake as my breakfast, make it easy. So yeah.
Everyone has the same, eats the same amount of milkshake. Everyone gets the same breakfast. You said, like you said, oh, I could have a bit of porridge, but most, other than that, I don't, you know, because I'm a big guy. Do I get a milkshake and a half, or this everyone gets the same one milkshake?
No, I prefer, because the request specifically come from Lee and saying you love your porridge. Okay, so that's why you can have. So far, there's no one indicated they have to have certain food. Okay, you the only one say you have to have certain food. So I don't want you to make a too much changes to your enjoyment. You know, the psychologically you will hate it if you do not actually eat something, and oats are actually classified as healthy food. Don't use those spray down into really fine form. Use those whole raw oats because they are much better, and make sure they do not have other cream or sugar added to it. It would not, because you get a big body shape and you if you're active. So especially on the day if you go for cycling, you should have the oats, because it give you need additional carbohydrate to help you to actually survive those long burning of energy, because protein takes time to be broken down before it can provide you with the energy. So if you go for cycling, it's best that you go in the morning soon after you have your breakfast, so then you can have a larger serve of oats in order to meet the demands of your cycling. So if you're not exercising the day, and try to not eat it if you could, or only eat probably 1/3 of the normal, or more than half of the normal amount. So it should be okay. It will not affect your diet, the result of the program. It doesn't. Okay, but definitely not at nighttime. At nighttime, try not to eat any of the carb. It eventually store as fat. You somehow will burn it during the day. So yes. Any more questions? Fun.
With the egg in the morning, can you have a scrambled egg or a fried egg, or is it always a boiled egg?
You can have either way. Now, Johnny, I suggest that for Mel, I suggest you have, if you are not having the, I suggest you have 1 egg plus 1 egg white. So you can have more.
Right.
If we're doing a scramble egg, 1 egg is only tiny, really little bit. So it's not enjoyable. Yeah, so you have one egg, 1 full egg, and 1 egg white. I know that you waste the egg yolk, but the egg yolk give you 4 grams of fat as well. So I don't want that add to your diet. So yeah, you can do it anyway. But if you have pan fried egg now, again, 20 grams total of oil you can use. You use some in the morning, then you need to reduce some at lunchtime or dinner time. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what else was this? That's it. Thank you.
Okay. Any more?
I got one more question.
Any more questions? So let me stop the recording.
I've got one more question. I've got one more question.